It is going to be a long 2 years with Republicans in charge of the House, so buckle up. This coming Thursday, the newly created House Select Subcommittee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government, yes, that is a real name, is set to hold its first hearing. No topic or possible witnesses list has yet been disclosed. Now, if you couldn't tell by that name, the subpoena, or the subpanel rather, is just the very latest avenue for fear-mongering that Republicans are trying to do and what they do best: peddle baseless conspiracies. That much is obvious from the subcommittee's first known interview. This week, lawmakers met with former FBI official Jill Sanborn for roughly 4 hours. In conservative media and congressional Republican circles, Sanborn is a key player in a so-called deep state plot to use federal law enforcement to target and silence conservatives. Last year, the chair of this new subcommittee, Jim Jordan, well, he claimed that Sanborn and other FBI officials pressured agents to manipulate data about domestic terrorism, padding the stats to back up the Biden administration's focus on far-right extremism. Now, lawyers for Sanborn have said that she vigorously denies these allegations and that there's no real evidence to support these right-wing claims. But that's the issue. It's the issue we face time and time again with Republicans. The facts, they don't matter. And neither do findings or results or any evidence. What matters is creating an aura of wrongdoing that oftentimes is all you need to cast doubt on a president and his administration. And of course, Jill Sanborn isn't the only Republican target in this new GOP mission. This week, Jordan, who also serves as chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, are we sensing a pattern here? Issued his first subpoena to the Biden administration and its officials, requesting a laundry list of documents from the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, from FBI Director Christopher Wray, even the Education Secretary, Miguel Cardona. Jordan's fishing expedition is linked to another far-right conspiracy, this one accusing federal agencies of, quote, targeting of parents for exercising their First Amendment rights at school board meetings. Now, it's hard to take this request from Jim Jordan seriously when he himself defied a congressional subpoena from the January 6th committee. And yet, once again, there's no evidence whatsoever that parents were targeted. Shortly after the subpoenas were made public, the FBI came out and denied any wrongdoing on the part of the Biden administration. And in just the last few days, we have seen in real time a new Republican conspiracy take hold. The President Biden was somehow derelict in his handling of the suspected Chinese surveillance balloon. GOP lawmakers are already eyeing plans to investigate Biden and his officials over their handling of this matter. And despite the fact that 3 similar balloons entered the U.S. airspace during the Trump administration, according to the Defense Department, we've never even heard of it. And one Republican congressman even called on Biden and the Vice President, Kamala Harris, to resign. Look, I know what you're thinking. We can kind of laugh at these investigations and even mock Republicans for being so unserious. But we can't lose sight of how incredibly dangerous their actions are. These trumped-up investigations are effectively turning fringe conspiracies into mainstream politics in this country. As the Rolling Stones' Kara Vaught put it, getting people focused on these theories isn't a means, it's an end. So now that we know the Republican playbook for the next 2 years, my question is, how will the Democrats fight back? Democratic Congressman John Garamendi of California is a member of the House Select Subcommittee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government. He joins me now. Congressman, it's great to see you again. Thank you for coming back on the show. You know, this subcommittee, it has had quite the rocky start. On Tuesday, House Republicans, in an attempt to expand the subpanel to 21 members, inadvertently shrunk it to 12 and gave Democrats a supermajority in that process. And that error was obviously amended. But one Democratic aide said the typo was, quote, just the latest evidence that this MAGA clown show was never serious. Give me your thoughts on this. What does that kind of carelessness tell us about what we should expect from this Thursday's hearing?
Well, first of all, let's just start with the basics. It is important, and it is a task of Congress to investigate and to do oversight. We do that all the time. I was chairman of the Readiness Subcommittee, the Armed Services Committee. We had 6 or 7 major hearings. Every other subcommittee did too, all of them oversight of the U.S. military and the $840 billion that are spent there. That's our task. But this particular subcommittee is going to be, oh, my goodness, where are they going to go? They're going to go down the rabbit hole. They're going to go after every conspiracy theory that's out there. And Jim Jordan's going to lead the pack. We're serious about this. We want the truth. And those of us that are on the committee, led by Stacey Paskett, who is an extraordinary lawyer and a very, very wise, very competent woman, she will guide us through these crazy hearings that are going on. You cited 2 that are out there. There are going to be many, many more. We want the truth. We want it to come out. And we're quite certain that the latest conspiracy thing will be on Mr. Jordan's agenda for the next 2 years. But you can count on the 8 of us on this committee to make sure that the American public knows the truth.
Let me ask you about that for a moment, because Republicans now have seemingly centered their entire governing agenda around various conspiracy theories. They're not going to pass any laws. They're not going to get anything meaningful done. So my question to you is, what damage do you think this subcommittee will do to our republic if all they're consumed with is forcing discussion and debate around conspiracy theories? I mean, I know that you're going to probably take it seriously and the Democrats will take it seriously, but you're also going to get dragged into the mud by the Republicans who set the agenda as the majority in the committee.
Well, we're not interested in mudslinging. We're interested in getting you the truth, and we'll certainly question, as we should on this committee. But what we need to understand is the extraordinary situation that 2 years of the Biden administration and the Democrats' control of Congress, what we were able to do. We came off the worst possible situation in 2021. We had a pandemic and the entire world was shut down. In just 24 months, Biden and the Democrats turned that around. We have the highest job growth. We have inflation descending over the last 6 months. We had a situation in which the American unemployment rate is the lowest it's been since 1969. All of that is a fact. And you can be sure that we're going to be talking about that, and we'll juxtaposition all of the good things that are going on in this nation, including an extraordinary strong military that was wise enough to handle the great balloon situation.
The great balloon situation, which Republicans now are calling on the president, or at least one is, to resign. They want to consume us with investigations into things like the administration's response to the suspected surveillance balloon, which was, as you mentioned, shot down yesterday. Is this going to become a familiar pattern or process over the next few years, that Republicans characterize every action by the Biden administration as a scandal worthy of congressional investigations under the guise of oversight?
Well, the Republicans are going to do everything they can to harm the administration. They want to take Joe Biden down. They want to install Trump for 4 more years. That's their goal, and they figure if they can continue to bang away at this. But it just really bothers me, this whole balloon business. A whole lot of my colleagues were, passing a whole lot of hot air. And the reality is they didn't understand what the American military was actually doing. We knew what was going on. There's some classified information that may be coming out later about how we handled it, what the intelligence we were gathering, not only on the ground now or in the water, but also in the air. It's important for us to be able to understand what the Chinese are up to. And I'm absolutely certain that there's a Chinese general that's in deep trouble back in China, because he gave us 5 days plus a downing of this balloon to understand what they were doing, how they're going about doing it, what they're looking for. And there's much more to be said and learned about this. And that's what the oversight is, which will commence this next week in the Armed Services Committee in the House of Representatives.
Congressman, before I got to ask you about the State of the Union. President Biden set to address Congress on Tuesday. What would you like to hear from the president? What should he be saying come Tuesday night?
He's going to start off with saying the State of the Union is strong. He's going to start off by saying, just look what we've done over the last 2 years. We, the American people, we suffered. We actually dealt with the pandemic. We're pushing through it now. Our jobs and our economy is coming back. We have an infrastructure foundation that's going to go into place. And We are going to have a green, non-carbon economy being built in America. We're going to lead this world. We're going to rebuild the American economy and manufacturing. He's going to talk about all of that. And I'm going to stand up and be cheering every single way along the way. And the Republicans are going to sit on their hands, and they're going to go, oh, my goodness, how are we going to deal with all of this? It's too good. So they'll go about all of this extreme MAGA business, looking for the next conspiracy theory. We'll deal with it. We're very competent. The key people are on this committee. We'll just give Mr. Jordan a good, sound thumping.
Best of luck to you, sir, on that committee, or that subcommittee, I should say. Democratic Congressman from California, John Garamendi. Always a pleasure. Thank you for making time for us.